Cool. You got it.
Okay.
All right. So let's see what we got here.
An actual
Because this is from listener
I never had to get lucky.
Joey Liston, who lives in California, but not anywhere near a homebrew club. So he doesn't have a real chance to get some feedback. So he sent us some beers to say, hey, give me some feedback on what I'm doing. So we got a few. So what I'm going to ask everybody to do is basically, we'll pour out some taste. Hopefully everybody's got a glass. If not, I got a few small glasses here. And I want everybody to go through and just, give a quick note, right? What do you got? So we're going to start with where I think is the obvious place to go, particularly after we've had such a long meeting full of big, strong beers. We're going to have a dark mild, right? Awesome. All right. So again, remember, Joey was looking for real feedback, right? He didn't want sort of being coddled. He wanted to have a good sense of what his beers were doing. All right. So go ahead and here, pass that around if you want.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So now this one's gonna be a little cool because it's been in the cooler all morning with ice. So give it a chance to do a little warming up if you want.
Okay.
Craig, you want in on this, or are you?
Get a cup. I've got a glass.
What about you, Paul?
That's it.
Cool. There you go. All right, so right off the bat, I get that nice kind of dark caramel of fruit, a little bit of coffee.
Coffee notes.
Yep. No butter, no diacetyl in this one.
Still pretty cold.
Yeah, it is still a little cold, but that's why I figure at least our short sample should warm up fairly quick.
A little nuttiness.
Well, what?
Nuttiness?
Nice, yep. Yeah, kind of that nut brown type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tasting nut brown.
Yeah, and to me the aroma's not so nutty. The flavor is.
The
nutty.
flavor is, yeah. That's
Yeah,
what
I
I
mean
got,
the
too.
flavor is almost hazelnuts. So I mean that puts you squarely into that Newcastle type of area, but again not as
It's a
strong.
lot richer than Newcastle, though. Newcastle is kind of one-dimensional. But,
Well, but I think it's richer, but it's not stronger than Newcastle.
You said this was
Definitely
intended
not.
as a dark mild?
fuller
Yep.
flavors is
Yeah.
what I mean to say.
Pardon my ignorance, isn't it dark mild quite up on the SRM and quite
No,
rusty?
no. So
Yeah.
the thing is, like a lot of American interpretations make dark miles as almost mild porters.
Yeah, like Solidaire.
Yeah, like Solidarity is a perfect example of that.
Yes.
That's not necessarily indicative of the full range of mild.
Okay.
So like a lot of American milds go very, very dark. This is still in that dark mild range, I think. It's just not. It's not like overtly.
It's dark as opposed to being a pale golden one, that's all. And it's just darker than that. And I think it's great. I think it works really
Isn't
well.
it sweet a
It's
little
good.
bit?
Yeah, but a mild should have a little sweetness.
Okay.
I mean, I think the biggest struggle about a mild is how do you make a beer that starts around 1038, 1040 at the highest, ferments, and doesn't turn into something watery, right? So yeah, I mean, you want a little bit of body left to it, and that's actually, I think, the real trick. Yeah, I mean, ideally, would this be a little drier? Yeah, I think so. But this falls very solidly into sort of that sweet brown range, I think. Any other comments? Paul?
No, so I think it's really a good example of that style. It's
I don't. He gave me the bottle that said dark mild.
Party foul. Yeah, it could be 5.5%. So yeah, this is a really nice tasting mild.
Could be.
Just slightly bigger and it would totally be a brown ale.
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly. Yeah, this would come into that total Newcastle, particularly with the nuttiness.
Yeah.
That we noted earlier. All right. So now let's see.
No, that one's good. I like it. I want more of that.
All right.
Can I send him my address? And
Sure.
Let me know if you've had it.
All right, and then let's see. Here we go. We're gonna go ahead and I've got a beer here that's noted as a pale, and I think it's a Galaxy Pale because it says Gal Pale. If you want. All right, so now we are joined by Jim Mormon, our professional
Yeah, tell me
pourer.
when to stop. It's right at the beginning.
And by the way, you know, see, he pours for himself first.
so he's not sure if he'll have enough with the end.
Well, we all know that.
All right. So again, we've got coming around a Galaxy. I think it's a Galaxy Pale. Smells like a Galaxy Pale.
Good nose. I like the nose on this one.
And we get a small bit of an oniony thing, but also a lot of that big danky fruit, that sort of passion fruit. Well, that's all going to come down to your hop.
That's really
availability.
good. I like this one. Really good.
Smells like vegetable soup.
Like a little bit of
It
stomach.
has that kind of veggie smell to it.
Smells like vegetable soup.
This is, I would like to know is,
But that's the
Flame
onion
out
thing.
hop
you
and
were
dry.
talking about.
Yes,
Spoozy.
I usually don't encounter these problems with the Australian and New Zealand bunch.
Well, and you know, now you say it,
Really
like
good though. Very drinkable. I mean, the
Yeah,
big palate, the flavor is really nice. The bitterness level is not harsh, but it's there. It makes a nice dry finish. Good.
Well, you know what the aroma comes off to me more. You said vegetable soup. It comes off a lot like the Knorr dried vegetables. You know, like those dried carrots, the dried tomatoes.
A little oregano and carrots and onions there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a bad thing. It's just
No, it's not bad. It definitely it ends up being a good beer, so nothing wrong with it.
yeah. Well, but to me, what I think I want is I want a little more dimensionality to the hop character in this one.
Actually, the beer doesn't have big mouthfeel to it. It's a little bit thin, it's dry finish. There is a hop bitterness to it.
Yeah, out of this I get just that onion, and
But a little
there's
bit
not
of
a lot
mouthfeel body.
more out of it.
I like that.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the problem when you use a single varietal hop in a beer. It ends up being a little one-dimensional. It's that hop and lots of it.
It's that.
So
I taste
I like,
I take
you know, when
exception to
when
that,
you do.
I take exception.
Well, I mean, if you like a variety hop, use the hell out of
So
it.
let's face it.
Well, no.
Well, that's why I buy most of the mosaic that's here.
Yeah. But you know, when I make a hoppy beer, I like to use just at least two different varieties. So you get some of that complexity in the aroma. You get maybe some of the woodiness, some of the herbalness, a little perfumey nose. And I think that's
Drink up, Buttercup.
Before we move on from this
I
one,
like that. That's my personal.
I will never pour you the same
real
beer.
quick, before we move on from this, between the first two that we had, the Dark Mild and the Galaxy Pale here, how many people prefer the Dark Mild?
Dark mild.
I think that's the majority of the hands.
Galaxy.
Oh, you like the Galaxy?
I like the Galaxy.
So we got two votes for the Galaxy is best. All right, now what we got coming around. This is denoted on the cap as Omega 77, and if I remember correctly, this is going to be a Omega Saison. So Omega being the yeast company, and this is one of their Saison strains. I think it's the Saison Stein, which is their hybrid. And sorry, Joey, if I don't remember all the details.
Back to that Galaxy Pale Ale. I don't know if this is a
nice.
SoCal's 2 cents on. I would have liked a lot more hop
Jim
presence.
is around. We need some.
That's fair. All right, so so again, I get the upfront of cinnamon, I get the upfront of the nutmeg, and then the back is all that bubblegum and banana.
Yeah.
Right? It comes to a nice dry finish. There's also some dry spices in the finish.
A lot of bubblegum in that one.
Yeah, but it is very bubblegummy, and I think again, if this is the Omega Saison Stein strain, that seems to be indicative of that strain to me.
I want to interject black pepper.
Yeah, I get a little
Way
black
at the
pepper.
end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Peppery for sure.
But that's part of that spicy phenol thing.
On the nose, I'm also getting a lot of pear and some peach and red apple.
Definitely peppery the mid to finish.
All right.
Minty, yeah.
So is there anything that you object to in this one?
Nope.
No, it's
tried
kind
it.
of tasty.
No, no.
Like it.
Oh, it's clean.
Yeah.
It's fermented.
It's dry.
Yeah, it ferments down dry, which is like the
You don't want
biggest,
to have to climb over grill.
which is the biggest sin in my mind about most saisons.
Well,
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I prefer my saisons with less of the big fruit character in it. But that's me. I mean, like obviously one of the biggest, most popular strains, and one of the ones I actually like is the White Yeast Farmhouse, the 3726, which is from Brazi de Belaugi's, and that's very fruity. But it produces a very clean beer, and I think this one does that same thing.
rake me through the coals. I would like it a little cleaner. But no, this was on tap in my place. No objections. But if I were looking for a little more, I'd look for a little less.
It's like a little umami shoyu thing going on in the aroma. It smells like chow mein
A
to
little
me.
of that meaty.
Yeah. I don't know.
So what would you think would cause that?
I don't know. I would just assume it would be a yeast characteristic, but
Yeah, you'd have to imagine it's going to be
Yeah.
All right.
Unsure.
Hey, Mormon,
Yes.
you got a job.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking to beer.
it smelled
Were
like,
you?
it smelled like chow mein to me. Chow mein. Just a little note, but
All right, and so now
good beer. I like it.
we have coming around another saison, but this one is made with one of the Imperial strains. So Imperial Yeast Company out of Portland, Oregon, who make those cute little cans of yeast.
That's right.
And I forget which one this one was again, but let's just judge it on its characteristics. So this one I get.
This is what I'm
This-
talking about. A little cleaner.
Well, this one I get a little bit of that sort of banana candy type thing too, but backed up.
Laffy Taffy.
What?
Well, the Laffy Taffy, but backed up by banana bread, right? So like I don't want to say like if you say Laffy Taffy, then it comes off like it's just a big banana thing, and that's all. But there's a bready character behind it. There's a spice character behind it. There's that.
Definitely less fruit.
Yeah,
on this
and there's
one.
some nuts and some
Yeah.
some
Smells
earth
like
behind
Laffy
it.
Taffy banana flavor. That's what it tastes like.
It's weird. I don't want to
It's
say
good, though. I
less
like it
fruit
that way.
because the big fruit, for instance, is banana. It's more amplified than the other. Let's
Well,
taste.
And then when you get into the flavor, I mean that very first hit that you get is all the cinnamon and the nutmeg and the allspice and the
Yeah.
clove. It's all those eugenol characters, and then the fruit comes in behind it. I think.
That's a big banana.
Yeah, but I mean again, I mean like, is it banana enough that you object to it? I mean, is it?
No, it's not bothersome. It isn't as much as Laffy Taffy,
Yep.
but it's definitely more than a little.
This was my contention with the last one. This would be of the two. I think I'd vote for this one higher as
Yeah, I like this one a little better
Yeah,
too.
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I mean again, we got clean. I mean I think all the characters that are coming across are yeast characters. I don't think we're getting anything that's off from fermentation. I don't think we're getting anything that's mishandled. So and this is all the expression of the yeast. So yeah, so let's talk real quick. So dark mild. How many people still like that one the best?
Yep.
yeah.
All right, so we
That
still
was
got a
just
couple of
really
hands.
drinkable.
I really like that one.
The Galaxy Pale. So we still got to vote for the Galaxy Pale. All right, the first of the saisons with the Omega. Anybody preferred that one? All right, that one actually gets no votes. Okay, so and then finally here we got the Imperial. How many people like that?
If I can vote two.
All right, so we got a couple votes for that. So now, real quick show of hands. Out of the two saisons that we just had, how many people like the Omega better? That first one. So we got 2 votes for the Omega. How many people preferred the Imperial?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much everybody else. Okay. All right, cool. Good to know. All right, then we got one last one to taste. because you guys haven't had enough beer so far.
Oh, definitely not.
All right, and this is his wee heavy.
Okay.
Just started.
After it's just like awesome, smooth.
Nap time at 3.
All right, get out of Jim's way.
And be smooth till I get home to the
Right
wife.
to dinner, and then it's like, okay, it's over.
It's going to be time for me to go home and do nothing.
It's time for me to go home and make a gin and tonic.
I said nap time.
Finish up the podcast.
Last night I had
NASCAR.
I went to a bar that just had amazing. They had one of everything. If you're a rum, which I am, they had choices and so I'll gin and tonic. I'm like, do you have terroir?
It's like about lap
I said, yeah. I'm like,
125.
never had it. Bring it on.
What was the bar?
It's called Roxanne's in Long Beach, and their front bar has a real shit selection, but there's a speakeasy you can get into that is blocked up for private parties, which I did, and they have so much stuff that they have a spiral staircase to some more bourbons and stuff, but
All right, so now we got a wee heavy here.
oh yeah.
Scottish?
Yep, Scottish wee heavy. So think it's nominally the Scottish equivalent of a barley wine. Although the way the Americans usually interpret it, less hops, which
Yeah.
is possibly a historical. But yeah, still you should get big caramel malt characters, maybe a little smokiness, a little bit of roastiness. The classic one is the Track Warehouse, which is produced really with nothing more than like Golden Promise or Maris Otter malt and a smidge of roast barley, and with a long boil to get those caramel characters. Well, I mean, like I
Nice
get,
brown bread smell.
I get that roast up front. I get a little fruit in the nose,
Very clean and
but yeah, it's all relatively reduced.
not cloying, but definitely very rich.
There's a little hop phenol, I think.
You're making faces, Jimmy. What?
More body. Jim was right. It's not thick enough to be a really good.
Yeah, it does need more body.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a range. It has a nice full
So was
malty
this?
flavor.
What are you talking about the truck warehouse? That's a really
Well, I mean, that's like a world classic. You know, that's a whole different.
But like Bellhaven Wee Heavy doesn't have a ton of body. I would argue I would say Bellhaven Wee Heavy still has more body than this does.
Yeah.
I think this does fall down on the body part.
So was this submitter feel like they had brew house problems, or did they just want a reference check on what they? It seems to me the biggest complaints are just stylistic spot checks on.
Technically, the guy's pretty well done.
So the thing is, Joey doesn't have a local homebrew club that he goes to.
Okay. Yes.
And so he's like, here, taste my beers. Tell me what
They're clean. Everything
Huh? These are all from the same guy.
Everything's plain. I like it.
So yeah, I mean, I would argue everything technically about fermentation and the mash seems to be dead on.
Yes.
I would agree. I would want for my wee heavy a little more meat to this.
How would he do that? Just make it bigger?
A little bigger, a little higher mash temperature.
Yeah.
I mean, again, maybe a little longer boil.
Calcium chloride in there.
Yeah.
Put some non-fermentables in there.
But yeah, just. I think that's the other part. I mean, this is still a very drinkable beer. There's a roast and a bit of that roast acidity that I think comes in the finish that isn't ideal. But I think that would be counteracted by having a little more body, right? All right. Any other comments before we close up?
Good.
You want a keg of it?
I want to take it.
Yeah, that dude needs to keep going.
Yeah.
Right.
Well on its way.
So Joey, there you go. You got your verdict. You're doing pretty damn good, buddy. Just got a couple dial-ins, and otherwise, keep doing what you're doing. So there you go. Thank you, guys.
Cheers, dude.
Let's go around just to show everybody who's having his beers.
Till next month.
Cheers.
See, we assembled a small crew.
And me. Our faithful cameraman. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Still on the drunken cameraman.